Have I ever questioned what makes certain residences exude an immediate sense of tranquility upon entry? While the majority of Americans allocate thousands of dollars to home decoration annually, Amish families craft impressively serene environments for under $500 each year. Their method is not rooted in doing without. Instead, it centers on intention, utility, and appreciating the aesthetic in genuinely significant things. Upon my initial visit to an Amish dwelling, I experienced an unexpected wave of serenity, a stark contrast to my years in a cluttered urban apartment where every surface appeared to collect trinkets, books, and the miscellaneous clutter of modern existence. The uncluttered, expansive areas were akin to a welcome gust of fresh air. What was most striking was not the home's possessions, but its lack thereof. No television dominated the primary living space. Telephone cables did not snake across tabletops. Ornate cushions with whimsical phrases did not clutter the simple wooden seating. The walls were devoid of commercially purchased artwork or an overabundance of photographs. In their place, there was openness, uncomplicated, deliberate space. This manner of arranging a living space appears unusual in our culture, where more is better prevails. We are constantly exposed to advertisements urging us to acquire more possessions and display them. Home improvement television programs often feature before scenes of rooms already containing more items than I observed in an entire Amish residence. The aftershots typically introduce even more objects, perhaps different items, but seldom fewer. The underlying concept remains consistent. More equates to superior. However, the Amish philosophy inverts this notion. Through possessing less, they ultimately gain more visual tranquility, greater utility from each possession, and improved movement. Their residences are not bare due to a shortage of funds. They are intentionally maintained with simplicity, stemming from their convictions about what constitutes a fulfilling existence. A typical Amish family allocates less than $500 annually for household goods, a sum many of us might expend in a single shopping excursion. A multitude of possessions is not necessary for happiness, my Amish host clarified. An excess of items becomes a responsibility to maintain, to clean, and to preserve. They detract from time that could be spent on what is truly important. I found myself unable and unwilling to adopt their exact lifestyle, but their concept of achieving serenity through minimalism is effective regardless of one's identity or origin. Gazing at my now less cluttered dwelling, I realized I had been overlooking the free gifts nature provides, the exact elements the Amish introduce indoors to beautify their homes with simplicity. Enter an Amish residence during winter, and one might observe pine cones artfully placed in a wooden bowl. In summer, that identical bowl might contain wildflowers gathered earlier that day. Autumn introduces vibrant leaves and acorns. Spring ushers in new green foliage. These are not elaborate display pieces purchased commercially. They are complementary offerings from the surrounding environment. Amish dwellings integrate the outdoors with a pragmatic perspective. In contrast to many of us who hasten to craft retailers for artificial flora, they merely venture outdoors. The forests, meadows, and gardens serve as their source for home furnishings. A study revealed that 94% of Amish families incorporate at least one seasonal natural element into their home decor throughout the year. Contrast this with the general population, where only approximately 23% consistently bring natural items indoors. This habit is not solely about financial savings, although that is an agreeable benefit considering the average American expends over $200 annually on imitation plants alone. It concerns fostering a connection with the land that sustains them. It is about acknowledging the progression of the seasons. It involves instructing children to observe the minor marvels directly beneath them. Our children delight in discovering unique stones or intriguing branches, an Amish mother shared with me. They feel a sense of pride when an item they've found is integrated into our home. Children transform into treasure seekers, developing an eye for beauty in common objects. A young one who assists in collecting cattails in August or holly boughs in December grasps a profound understanding of natural cycles and seasons that no commercially produced calendar can impart. Certain Amish parents create scavenger hunt lists tailored to different seasons, thereby converting learning into a playful activity. These are not haphazard accumulations of twigs and stones deposited in corners. There is an artistry to their arrangement. Pine branches might adorn a mantelpiece in December. Apple blossoms could grace a frame in May. Dried corn husks may be fashioned into autumn door adornments. Every element fulfills a function, being both utilitarian and aesthetically pleasing. I once attempted to replicate this apparently straightforward method in my own residence. How challenging could it be to locate some attractive branches and craft a centerpiece? 3 hours later, drenched by unforeseen rain and covered in abrasions from prickly shrubs, I discovered the answer. Quite difficult indeed. My attempt at an artistic display more closely resembled yard waste I had hauled in following a storm. The Amish execute this with apparent ease because it has been a lifelong practice for them. My misadventure, however, taught me a valuable lesson. Those perfectly composed natural displays are not accidental. Amish women and men possess precise knowledge of what to seek. Which blossoms dry effectively? Which boughs flex without snapping? Which flora retains its hue for the longest duration? This expertise is transmitted from parents to offspring through extended periods of practical application. Something else I had not taken into account. Timing is crucial. Collecting blackberry vines in early spring ensures they are pliable enough for weaving into wreaths. Delay until summer and they become too rigid. Harvest particular flowers at noon when they are fully bloomed, others in the early morning while still dewy. These are not insights one acquires from a YouTube tutorial. They originate from generations of practical, experiential learning. Observing the weather also becomes an integral part of home adornment. Is rain approaching? It's advisable to collect those cattails immediately before they become waterlogged. With the first frost nearing, it is time to cut the final roses before they perish. This imparts to Amish homes a cadence linked to the external world beyond their windows, a sharp divergence from our I want it now decorating approach, where we procure artificial plants online that appear identical in January and July. We do not attempt to resist the seasons, an Amish grandmother elucidated. We invite them in. She chuckled as she appended, moreover, it is far simpler to dust a bowl of pine cones than all those small, ornate items people place on shelves. And herein lies the pragmatic sagacity that underpins a significant portion of Amish existence. These seasonal adornments fulfill a dual role, gracefully marking the passage of time while being remarkably simple to care for. One simply exchanges them when nature presents a fresh alternative. There are no storage containers brimming with holiday ornaments occupying closet space. No artificial flowers losing their color in the sun. Only uncomplicated items that revert to the earth once their indoor purpose is complete. The sole product I will ever endorse on our channel is a publication by Claude Davis, an experienced prepper detailing 126 superfoods and techniques for preservation from periods of crisis such as the Great Depression and wartime, information that is otherwise unobtainable. I chose to endorse his book because we represent the final generation capable of passing on these methods and knowledge of superfoods to our offspring or their children. It would be a profound loss if this knowledge concerning highly nourishing foods and preservation strategies for surviving crises were to vanish. Additionally, a book on herbal treatments by Nicole Pellion is available in their store. For those viewing this on television, you can search for our channel, Frugal Solutions, on your mobile phone or tablet and locate the books by selecting the link provided in our channel's description or in the description of any other video. Upon discovering the exquisite handcrafted textiles that embellish Amish residences, I perceived that their philosophy regarding fabric narrates an equally compelling tale. In Amish dwellings, fabric communicates. Each quilt, table covering, and window treatment conveys a narrative silently. The majority of Amish textiles originate on nearby looms. Dissimilar to factory-made textiles featuring computer-flawless designs, these hand-loomed articles bear subtle human imperfections, a marginally denser thread in one spot, a minor chromatic difference in another. These are not imperfections, They are distinctive marks, as individual as fingerprints, designating each piece as singular. The typical Amish household possesses between 15 and 20 quilts. This quantity might appear extravagant until one discovers that numerous quilts are more than a century old, inherited through successive generations. A recent investigation into Amish textiles revealed that the most ancient continuously utilized household quilt was crafted in 1834 and continues to adorn a bed each winter. Attempt to find comparable durability in any item from a large retail outlet. Women convene for quilting gatherings where digits move swiftly and material undergoes transformation. These are not merely craft assemblies, they function as living repositories where patterns and methods are passed from experienced hands to newer ones. An exceptionally proficient quilter might gain recognition for her meticulous feather stitch or characteristic color palettes that nearly become a familial trademark. I can enter a home 10 miles distant and identify the creator of a table runner simply by observing specific stitches, an Amish woman elucidated. Every family possesses minor, distinct methods that are transmitted. This chain of knowledge extends back for centuries. Numerous patterns bear Pennsylvania Dutch appellations that few unacquainted individuals would identify: sunshine and shadow, birds in the air, broken star. Each one possesses significance beyond mere adornment. A nuptial quilt could incorporate designs representing aspirations for fertility. An infant's initial blanket might display motifs intended to bestow good luck. The hues themselves narrate tales. Profound blues and purples could distinguish a quilt from a particular community, whereas opulent reds and greens indicate another. Geographic variations arise from indigenous plant-based dyes utilized historically prior to the availability of commercial alternatives. Even though some communities currently employ commercially purchased thread, many uphold the chromatic customs of their forebears. Crafting these textiles requires a significant investment of time. An elaborate quilt could necessitate 300 to 400 hours of manual labor. Table runners, despite their simplicity, still call for meticulous effort. The outcome is articles constructed to endure decades of everyday wear. I once dedicated 3 hours in a home furnishing store agonizing over the selection of a farmhouse-style table runner. The Amish woman who was my host that day had stitched one from basic materials in approximately the same duration, all while we conversed about her grandmother's patterns. My $40 acquisition will likely not endure for 5 years. Her handcrafted piece will probably grace the table of her great-grandchildren. Textiles fulfill utilitarian requirements while enhancing aesthetics. Such is the Amish method. A woven floor covering is not merely for appearance, it provides insulation against chilly floors. Quilts are not wall adornments, they offer warmth throughout the winter. Even ornamental items such as table runners shield wooden surfaces from heated dishes and accidental spills. The wit in Amish textile craftsmanship frequently emerges in surprising ways. One particular community produces dish towels featuring understated jests stitched into the corners. Another intentionally incorporates minute flawed stitches, a symbolic acknowledgement that only the divine achieves flawlessness. When questioned about these deliberate imperfections, an elderly quilter winked and remarked, "We certainly wouldn't wish for the devil to become envious of our fine craftsmanship." These textile customs have endured due to their combined beauty and utility. Whereas numerous American residences display ornamental cushions that are discarded when one actually sits, Amish textiles justify their presence. They perform as diligently as the families who craft them. The very hands that sew these extraordinary fabrics frequently construct the furniture these textiles embellish, achieving a seamless concord between fabric and wood. The furnishings in Amish dwellings do not come via delivery vehicles. It originates as trees flourishing in the vicinity, undergoes transformation in workshops situated mere steps from the primary residence, and ultimately resides within family living spaces where it will provide service for decades, frequently for centuries. Crafting one's own furniture seems an ideal aspiration for many of us. We spend hours perusing online, seeking that ideal coffee table or bookshelf priced more affordably than a compact automobile. Concurrently, Amish artisans are in their workshops, fashioning local oak, cherry, and maple into items destined to endure beyond their own lifetimes. The financial calculation is patently logical. An Amish-crafted dining table incurs roughly the same expense to produce as purchasing a commercially made one of similar quality, approximately $800 to $1,200 for materials. However, rather than expending an additional $2,000 on labor and retail profit margins, the Amish artisan contributes their own time. Better still, the table may serve 5 or more generations, in contrast to the 7-year typical lifespan of mass-manufactured furniture. Our coffee table has witnessed 4 generations of coffee cups, an Amish grandfather quipped, and likely enough spilled milk to fill a bathtub. The workshop frequently serves as an educational setting. Young boys, and in certain communities increasingly girls, commence learning fundamental woodworking skills around the age of 10. By age 14, many are capable of crafting uncomplicated items such as step stools or birdhouses. By 18, they have typically assisted in constructing significant pieces for their own prospective homes. Styles of furniture vary among Amish communities. Some adhere to exceedingly simple designs characterized by straight lines and sparse adornment. Others permit more curvilinear forms, inlays, or carved embellishments. Yet, all share an unwavering dedication to quality that approaches fervent conviction. No particle board, no synthetic veneer, no shortcuts taken to expedite the process. How can one distinguish genuine Amish furniture from imitations? Examine the underside or rear of the pieces. Factory-produced Amish-style items usually exhibit machine-flawless joints that are all uniform. Authentic Amish craftsmanship displays minor variations in hand-cut dovetail joints. The wood grain aligns impeccably across drawer facings, a detail mass production seldom addresses. The most definitive test: machine-cut joints bear consistent knife marks throughout, whereas hand-cut joints reveal the slight alterations in cutting angle indicative of manual labor. A factory-produced Amish bookcase displayed identical router marks on each shelf, a clear indicator to a discerning observer. This emphasis on artisanship gives rise to distinctive family styles. Just as a quilter may be renowned for particular stitches, a furniture maker cultivates identifiable methods. The gentle curvature of chair arms, the specific manner in which table legs narrow, the unique finish that enhances the wood grain. These nuanced details evolve into familial hallmarks, transmitted through generations. The tools within Amish workshops narrate their own histories. Many continue to employ hand planes, draw knives, and chisels that were possessions of their great-grandfathers. Power tools are permissible in some communities, provided they operate on compressed air or generator-supplied electricity rather than mains power. These workshops generate virtually no refuse. Wood remnants are repurposed into smaller projects or used as kindling for domestic heating. The link between the creator and the user imparts a value that no retail establishment can replicate. When the individual who constructed your rocking chair resides nearby, repairs are executed promptly as required. When your kitchen table was fashioned by your uncle, it bears familial history alongside the dinnerware. Perhaps most striking is the manner in which these furniture customs evolve without sacrificing their essential character. Contemporary Amish artisans may integrate slight modifications for modern dwellings while preserving conventional methods. In some designs, kitchen islands substitute for hutches. Computer desks are found alongside customary writing tables. The evening illumination in these residences transforms with the same meticulous forethought that molds their distinctive furniture. Illumination alters everything within an Amish dwelling. In daylight hours, rays of sun stream through judiciously positioned windows, playing upon wooden floors and handcrafted furniture. As night descends, the gentle radiance of oil lamps converts rooms into havens of amber warmth. Windows are not arbitrarily placed in these houses. They are meticulously designed to capture morning light in kitchens where early tasks are performed, afternoon sunlight in living quarters, and evening beams in family communal areas. This is not merely aesthetically pleasing, it is functional. Research into traditional Amish home architecture revealed that window positioning diminishes the requirement for artificial illumination by as much as 40% compared to standard modern residences. "We situate windows where light is needed for tasks," an Amish carpenter clarified, "not simply where they appear attractive from the exterior." Most intriguing is how Amish builders frequently incorporate smaller elevated windows on north-facing walls. These admit gentle, uniform light without the intense direct sunlight that causes textiles and furniture to fade. Certain homes feature internal windows between rooms, enabling daylight to penetrate further into the interior. These ingenious design solutions arose from necessity long before energy conservation became fashionable. As dusk nears, illumination shifts without the flick of a switch. In communities that completely eschew electricity, oil lamps serve as both functional instruments and atmosphere enhancers. The typical Amish home contains between 8 and 12 oil lamps, judiciously positioned where family activities occur. These are not the insubstantial ornamental lamps available in contemporary shops. They are robust, dependable lamps engineered to supply genuinely practical light. Even in Amish communities allowing some electricity, lighting is kept to a minimum and serves a clear purpose. A solitary ceiling bulb may illuminate a workspace, while oil lamps continue to be used in other areas. This combined method still consumes approximately 80% less electricity for lighting than the average American household. The annual electricity expenditure for an Amish household that permits electricity typically amounts to around $200, compared to the national mean exceeding $5,500. The gentle luminescence from these lights achieves something electric bulbs cannot. It forms pockets of brightness where individuals congregate, inherently drawing family members closer instead of dispersing them to distinct, uniformly lit rooms. Activities organically concentrate around sources of light, fostering communal experiences rather than solitary ones. Choices in lighting also influence home design. Lacking glaring electric lights to offset darkness, Amish homes frequently have lighter-hued walls that mirror existing light. Gleaming metallic objects such as cookware might be hung in tactical locations, reflecting lamplight into dimmer corners. Mirrors are sometimes placed where they can capture and reroute natural light further into rooms. The restricted lighting yields another unforeseen advantage: improved sleep. Lacking harsh artificial illumination to disturb natural sleep rhythms, Amish families usually retire earlier and awaken with the sunrise. Studies indicate they report fewer sleep disturbances than the general populace, despite often engaging in physically strenuous daily activities. Oil lamps require regular cleaning, refilling, and upkeep, a task considered laborious by contemporary measures. However, this regimen establishes a natural cadence to days and seasons. Lamp maintenance evolves into a weekly observance, frequently delegated to children as a lesson in responsibility. As daylight diminishes in winter, lamp tending becomes more common, signifying the passage of time as reliably as a calendar. A delicate irony exists in how these traditional lighting methods align perfectly with advanced recommendations from current sleep specialists, who caution against blue-spectrum electric lights known to interfere with natural sleep hormones. The comforting amber luminescence of oil lamps contains virtually none of this sleep-disrupting blue light. Beyond the radiant lamps and sun-drenched corners, Amish walls narrate their own tales through meticulously selected displays that disclose what holds genuine significance in these residences. Unadorned walls tend to make most of us uneasy. We hasten to occupy vacant space with artwork, photographs, and decorations until no area is left bare. The typical American home exhibits between 15 and 22 wall adornments per room. Enter an Amish residence, and one might discover merely 2 or 3 items on a whole wall. Nonetheless, the space never seems vacant. The reason? Every wall item fulfills a genuine function. Consider the family calendar found hanging in the majority of Amish kitchens. Frequently handcrafted from basic materials, these calendars record birthdays, communal happenings, and work timetables. In contrast to ornamental calendars that many of us display but seldom use, Amish calendars are consulted numerous times each day. They facilitate the coordination of agricultural work, organize shared community duties, and assist families in planning according to the changing seasons. Verses from Scripture are presented in unpretentious frames in numerous homes. These are not arbitrary. They are thoughtfully selected passages that possess particular significance for the family. One might be displayed near the main entrance as a daily prompt before departing the house. Another might be positioned above a workspace, providing direction during demanding endeavors. Dissimilar to mass-marketed motivational sayings that fade into the surroundings, these hand-lettered verses retain their impact because they resonate profoundly with family principles. Children's creative works also find esteemed locations, not concealed in drawers or obscured on the sides of refrigerators, but suitably exhibited in plain frames. These are not merely charming drawings. They are concrete documentation of maturing abilities and evolving intellects. Parents periodically change these exhibits, demonstrating their genuine appreciation for their children's artistic endeavors rather than considering them as transient refrigerator adornments. In residences where certain modern amenities are allowed, functional wall items could encompass a straightforward clock or barometer. Even these fulfill twofold purposes, supplying information while also instructing children in telling time or forecasting weather conditions. Every item merits its place on the wall through everyday utility, not solely by its visual appeal. The distinction becomes apparent upon enumeration. A survey encompassing 50 Amish homes revealed an average of merely 2.3 wall items per room, in contrast to 17.8 items in neighboring non-Amish rural dwellings. Nevertheless, visitors regularly assess the Amish environments as more tranquil and more tastefully decorated, despite the lower quantity of decorations. "Our walls are not museums," an Amish woman clarified. "They are functional components of our homes." This method produces an intriguing consequence. Wall items genuinely capture attention. A scriptural verse does not recede into the visual background when it is the sole item on that wall. A child's artwork garners sincere appreciation when it is not vying with numerous other visual elements. Each item is afforded the mental space to be observed and contemplated. The humor in this situation becomes evident when contrasted with conventional homes. Many of us possess such a multitude of framed photographs that visitors could not feasibly view them all. Meanwhile, family members pass by without a second look, having ceased to notice what is directly in their sight long ago. 27 framed photographs that no one observes anymore versus 3 items that retain significance. Which constitutes the superior method? The utilization of wall space adapts with the seasons and familial requirements. Upon the arrival of a new infant, a modest birth announcement may be displayed. Throughout the harvest season, charts detailing crop rotation might be put up. These transient additions fulfill current needs and are then removed once they are no longer necessary. This contrasts with the holiday decorations many of us keep in storage for 11 months annually, only to exhibit for a short period. Even the manner in which items are hung demonstrates deliberate intention. Nothing is positioned at inconvenient heights or peculiar angles solely for ornamental impact. Everything is hung at elevations suitable for its function. Calendars are placed at eye level for the adults who utilize them. Children's items are hung at a lower height where young eyes can admire them. Reading materials are situated where light naturally illuminates them during the evening. This concentration on utility does not imply that Amish walls are devoid of beauty. The unpretentious elegance of a skillfully crafted wooden frame, the meticulous calligraphy of a hand-transcribed verse, or the genuine charm of a child's drawing present a visual allure surpassing that of any commercially acquired decor assemblage. Aesthetic appeal arises organically from functionality rather than being superficially imposed. Their pragmatism reaches past walls to discovering novel applications for old items, transforming would-be refuse into utilitarian treasures with extraordinary ingenuity. Well before upcycling emerged as a fashionable hashtag, Amish communities transformed necessity into an artistic pursuit. Their method of repurposing materials makes contemporary recycling initiatives seem rudimentary by comparison. Discarded doors are converted into kitchen tables, possessing a character that no furniture retailer can equal. A door's robust construction and intriguing features render it ideal for horizontal reuse. Some families retain the doorknob as a distinctive spot for hanging a towel or positioning a centerpiece. Others utilize former keyhole apertures to hold small vases for wildflowers. Barnwood is granted innumerable subsequent uses when buildings require replacement. Nothing is discarded. Aged siding is converted into shelving that would command prices in the hundreds at antique stores. Substantial support beams are fashioned into benches or new structural components in home additions. Even corroded hinges and hardware are cleaned, lubricated, and repurposed elsewhere. Parts from wagons perform wonders in gardens. Old wheels are transformed into supports for climbing flora. Axles function as robust borders for garden beds. Metallic rims are repurposed as hanging planters. An inventive Amish gardener constructed an entire garden entrance archway utilizing components from 3 distinct decommissioned farm wagons. The data narrates the account. A standard Amish household generates merely 15 to 20% of the landfill refuse produced by an average American family. This is not because they consume fewer goods, although they frequently do, but because they devise methods to repurpose almost everything. An investigation involving 5 Amish communities discovered they reused approximately 85% of what the majority of Americans would deem to be waste. Metallic containers never reach the end of their usefulness in Amish homes. They simply transform. Old milk cans are converted into stands for umbrellas or holders for flowers. Dented pails are repurposed for storing kindling next to fireplaces. Large metallic drums are given new utility as outdoor fire pits, systems for collecting rainwater, or even improvised root cellars when partially interred. Remnants of fabric too diminutive for quilting are used as filling for pillows, draft excluders for doors, or cleaning cloths. Wooden crates are arranged to form bookshelves or containers for toys. Glass jars house everything from nails to dried legumes. No useful item concludes its service after fulfilling only a single function. We practiced environmental consciousness before it became fashionable, quipped an Amish artisan while converting an old metal barrel into an attractive outdoor fire pit in under an hour. His hands moved with the effortless assurance of an individual who had performed this task numerous times previously. This aptitude for repurposing is cultivated from a young age. Children are taught to perceive potential rather than refuse. A damaged chair is not considered waste. Its legs can form a new stool, and its back slats can serve as a garden trellis. A fractured bowl is not without value. It can be transformed into a planter with inherent drainage. This way of thinking fosters exceptional ingenuity. Young individuals engage in friendly competition to discover the most practical subsequent use for ordinary broken objects. Even the instruments used for repurposing are themselves repurposed. A damaged saw is transformed into metallic components for other endeavors. A fractured hammerhead is given a new function as a doorstop. Deteriorated broom handles are converted into stakes for the garden. The process is perpetual. The most striking instances involve amalgamating several discarded items into something completely novel. One family constructed a greenhouse utilizing old windows sourced from 7 different structures. Another erected a children's play structure using components from an old chicken coop, a decommissioned buggy, and surplus house siding. The outcomes demonstrate a level of creativity that few professional designers could equal. What renders this method noteworthy is not solely the ecological advantage or the financial savings. It is the way these reused articles bear narratives and history within them. That kitchen table, fashioned from a great-grandfather's barn door, links daily repasts to familial legacy in a manner that no commercially purchased furniture could ever achieve. This communal ethos transcends the repurposing of objects, extending to extraordinary customs of collaborative effort on home projects that alter spaces virtually instantaneously. 40 pairs of hands expedite significant home undertakings. This elementary truth underpins one of the most extraordinary facets of Amish home design, the communal renovation gathering. Although barn raising may be the most widely recognized illustration of Amish collaborative effort, the identical method transforms home interiors with astonishing celerity. A kitchen remodel, which might consume months of weekend endeavors for the typical homeowner, frequently concludes in merely 2 or 3 days when the community convenes to assist. The system functions via meticulously organized rotation. Families do not arbitrarily determine when to modernize their homes. Rather, communities arrange trading days, where groups provide mutual assistance sequentially. In a given season, 6 families might aid one household with their kitchen remodel. The following season, another family receives their opportunity. The cycle persists until all participants gain from the collective endeavor. This method yields extraordinary efficiency. Documentation from one Amish community indicated that coordinated group labor finalized home renovations in roughly 20% of the duration it would require for a single family operating independently. A bedroom expansion that might demand weeks for one couple can be erected in a single extended workday when 20 individuals undertake it collectively. Tools, much like hands, are multiplied. Instead of a single drill or saw, 5 or 6 might be functioning concurrently. Materials are transported from trucks to work sites via human chains rather than by individual journeys. Seasoned laborers manage intricate tasks while novices acquire skills through direct involvement. Individuals of every age are assigned suitable roles, from children who convey messages to elders who prepare food for the workers. We transform labor into a celebration, an Amish homeowner elucidated. A day of renovation has more of the atmosphere of a festive gathering with hammers than a construction endeavor. Sustenance energizes these occasions, much like in barn raisings. Women cook copious meals, served buffet style, allowing workers to eat during natural pauses in their labor. Distinctive refreshments signify mid-morning and mid-afternoon respites. One community maintains a tradition of serving homemade ice cream at the conclusion of the day if the project is completed according to schedule, a delightful encouragement for productive work. This communal method gives rise to characteristic design elements. Broad doorways frequently distinguish Amish homes, as door frames can be installed with greater ease by several workers. Uniform window styles are seen throughout a community because volume purchasing reduces costs and standardization accelerates installation. Internal walls frequently correspond with the floor supports beneath them, because synchronized teams can more readily manage structural and finishing tasks concurrently. Days dedicated to renovation demonstrate knowledge transfer in practice. Young men who initially served as material transporters advance to tasks involving measuring and cutting. Adolescents who formerly held boards acquire the skill of installing cabinets. Women instructing girls in family recipes while preparing meals for workers are concurrently imparting home management abilities. The whole endeavor transforms into education cloaked as collaborative effort. The most intriguing statistic reveals that over 96% of young Amish adults can proficiently execute at least 5 significant home renovation tasks, compared to a mere 18% of their non-Amish rural counterparts. When all individuals engage in community undertakings, everyone cultivates practical skills. This can lead to amusing difficulties. Envision 15 people, largely unfamiliar with tools, all attempting to assist in renovating a bathroom. Such a day would probably feature more wine consumption than actual decorating, more discussions about design preferences than tangible advancement, and at least one individual dedicating the entire period to capturing photos for social media instead of supporting their share of a cabinet. These communal renovation occasions also elucidate why Amish homes frequently exhibit strikingly uniform interior aesthetics. When all members contribute to building each other's homes, designs organically acquire common traits. Functional elements that prove effective are replicated. Unproductive methods are swiftly abandoned. From these thoughtfully designed, communally constructed environments arises the core of every Amish dwelling, the kitchen, which functions as both a workspace and a hub for family congregation. Enter an Amish kitchen, and one discovers the genuine nucleus of the home. In contrast to contemporary houses where living rooms occupy the greatest area, Amish homes allocate their most substantial space to the zone where food preparation takes place. Dimensions are significant here for utilitarian motives. Amish kitchens usually span between 300 and 400 square feet, approximately 35% more expansive than the average American kitchen. This is not a matter of adhering to design fads or fashioning areas for entertainment. It is because preparing meals from basic ingredients 3 times a day for sizable families necessitates ample room for work. These kitchens instantly impress visitors as distinct. No gleaming stainless steel apparatuses, no ornamental cookie containers that remain empty, no elaborate knife blocks with seldom used blades. Conversely, every object justifies its presence through perpetual utilization. Culinary implements are suspended on open walls, readily accessible. Pots and pans rest on unadorned shelves, arranged according to their frequency of use rather than their aesthetic appeal. Large mixing bowls are stacked where numerous hands can access them during canning periods or baking sessions. The configuration might not garner design accolades, but it functions impeccably for individuals who genuinely prepare most of their sustenance from fundamental components. The kitchen table merits particular attention. Dissimilar to dining rooms in numerous contemporary homes which remain unoccupied most days, the Amish kitchen table accommodates meals, snack intervals, homework periods, family discussions, craft endeavors, and a multitude of other daily pursuits. It is frequently the most substantial piece of furniture in the residence and the one most extensively utilized. Research indicates that the average Amish family spends roughly 68% of their waking hours at home within the kitchen vicinity. Contrast this with typical American households where time spent in the kitchen constitutes only 27% of at-home hours, despite our captivation with culinary programs and kitchen makeovers. Our kitchens must labor more diligently than our horses, an Amish woman jested. At least the horses have Sundays free. Those renowned rows of preserved edibles lining Amish kitchen walls are not merely for adornment. The typical Amish family preserves between 400 and 600 jars of food each year, a functional requirement for the winter season. These vibrant jars containing vegetables, fruits, meats, and soups signify hundreds of hours of labor during summer and autumn. What appears as decoration to observers is, in reality, the winter's provision of food. Utilitarian does not equate to being devoid of aesthetic appeal. The crisp lines of handcrafted cabinets, the comforting radiance of oiled wooden surfaces, and the agreeable pattern of tidily organized implements generate a visual charm that costly kitchen showrooms strive arduously to replicate with their farmhouse style. The distinction lies in the fact that Amish kitchens acquire their appearance through genuine utility rather than contrived design. Kitchen configurations mirror family routines. Work triangles are not notions from design publications, but rather organic arrangements developed from years of hands-on experience. Sinks are situated near windows to provide natural illumination during dishwashing. Areas for food preparation are positioned in proximity to stoves. Storage is located precisely where items are most frequently employed. Countertop elevations also narrate family histories. Numerous Amish kitchens include work surfaces at differing heights, taller ones for adults, and lower sections where children can assist with food preparation from a young age. This is not concerned with charming helper stools that garner Instagram approval, but rather with pragmatic design that integrates children into everyday kitchen tasks. Most telling is the absence of certain items in these kitchens. No television diverts attention from conversation. No charging hubs for electronic devices disrupt family exchanges. No microwave provides expedited alternatives to conventional cooking techniques. The kitchen stays dedicated to its fundamental role, uniting the family around the vital pursuits of preparing and partaking in food together. As Amish families venture past their kitchen entrances, they persist with this utilitarian methodology by converting outdoor areas into functional prolongations of their residences.